Folks, you know that I rail against doomers and crash bros. However, I understand there are also bears, right? There are bulls and there are bears. I thought we should have a conversation about the important distinction between a doomer and a bear. And we're going to have this conversation with the legendary investor, Jason Hartman. How you doing, Jason?
Good. I am airport bound, so pardon the bad conditions, but I'll do the best I can.
Well, the audience appreciates it. You come with us every Monday at 9 a.m., come rain or shine or airport. So we appreciate you. But why don't you take a stab at this first? When you think doomer, crash bro, and bear, where does that delineation start to break down for you?
It's a great question. That's a really good topic because being a bear, I think, is logical. Being
Mhm.
a doomer is a religion. And
Ah, I like that. I like that.
and it's a religion for profit, right? It's a religion for money, for clicks, for attention, and it's not built on any sound ethical background. Whereas being a bear is just, market conditions obviously change, right? And that, I've been a bear at times, I've been a
Sure.
bull at times, right? And I think that's just logical and normal, right? There are cycles in everything.
Yeah,
You,
when I
you
think
agree?
about, I totally agree, and I love the
Yeah.
fact you called it a religion. And again, I think I'm actually getting much harsher in my tone. I think being a doomer or a crash bro is frankly pure evil.
Yeah.
I think they
Well,
are in the
that's
business
okay.
in the
Yeah.
business of stealing hope.
Hmm.
They don't give any kind of how to take advantage of. They never own their mistakes, which are
Right.
years and day, repeatedly wrong. So there's
Yeah.
all kinds
Right.
of stuff that a doomer has. But yeah, it's there's nothing good. There's nothing good about a doomer, and
Yeah.
I think being a bear is right. I think the biggest change for me between a doomer and bear, kind of structurally, is when new information comes in. A
They
bear will change
change.
their
Right.
opinion. A doomer
Right.
just goes on to the next bullshit lying excuse.
Yeah. Right. Right. And I love how you said they never own their mistakes. Right. And, I would argue actually that they're not even mistakes. They're just planned. Right. They just say this stuff to get money and get clicks and get attention. And, but they definitely never own it and they're constantly wrong. And so that's a very good point, Michael.
Yeah, and then the other thing you brought up that I want to really hammer on is, there being a bear or being a bull is cyclical, right? All markets have cycles. Some are longer, some are
Of
shorter.
course. Yeah.
And, it doesn't always pay to be a bear. It doesn't always pay to be a bull. And that shows that cycles are there. The other thing, again, a difference between a doomer and a bear is doomers steal hope because all they
Yeah.
say is fear, 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 fear. A
Right.
bear,
Right.
at least in my opinion, will tell you how to take advantage of it. He says basically, this is my bear thesis. If you
Yeah.
agree with me, do this, this, and this, and you will profit because you can
Yeah.
profit from being a bear. A doomer just says fear, 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 don't do anything, steals hope. There's no upside.
That is a very, very good point. And you know what? We've talked about this before on shows that we've done, Michael. But one of the interesting parts about it is look at the way our legal system works, and I think it sort of informs this discussion. Because if someone is promoting an investment and they lie to you, they overstate the returns, they're too rosy and they hide things, right? They hide material facts that would affect your decision, right? And you get into a bad deal, you can take them to court,
Yep.
right? But think about it. The biggest loss, and you can take them to court for your losses, right? And sue them.
Mhm.
But the biggest losses people have are due to the doomers because of action they didn't take,
Yeah.
right?
The opportunity
You know,
cost.
the,
Yep.
the opportunity cost is huge. And another way to say this, which I've talked about forever, is you can't hear the dogs that don't bark, right? And the dogs don't bark very loudly when you don't do something, when there's inaction, right? When you don't do it and you lose money because you just sat there passively as a spectator, those losses aren't as pronounced. I mean, they're there. Like people always say, I remember when I could have bought that property for, $100,000 and now it's 500,000, right? We've all heard that story, of course, and we've felt it ourselves, of course,
Mhm.
on properties we've sold. But the doomers just categorically cause people to lose, I would argue, hundreds of billions of dollars, maybe into the trillions. We will never know,
Yeah.
because they have giant audiences and they are influencing people to avoid action, right?
Right.
And those people have that huge opportunity cost because of the investment they didn't take,
I
but
think that
nobody
is
sues them, right?
that's
Isn't
a
that
yeah.
interesting that it's really hard to pin liability on them for talking you out of the good deal?
Yeah, that lack of action, and I do think that's the difference between a bear and a doomer. Again, the doomer wants to scare you into inaction. They want to steal hope so you do nothing. A bear wants to articulate an opinion, and then to your point, comma, do this if you believe me, right? And
Right.
there's a huge distinction between a bear going, "Hey, I think the Mag 7 is overvalued. If so, do this in the small cap and do this, whatever." A doomer's like, "Be afraid, be
Yeah.
afraid, be afraid."
Right.
Be afraid. Be afraid.
Uh,
And it just
yeah.
continues.
I mean, we all, of course, growing up, heard the story of Chicken Little.
Yeah.
And why is it that, as much more knowledgeable and better informed and seemingly more logical adults, right, we don't view these people as Chicken Little, the people who keep saying the sky is falling? And, a broken clock is right twice a day, of course, right? Once in a while, the sky does actually fall, but it's
Mhm.
so rare. And the opportunities missed in between when the sky is up there, it's just the cost to people is incalculable, really,
Yeah.
for the missed opportunity, for the opportunity cost, for the action they didn't take, for the dogs that don't bark, the investment return that wasn't earned, that should have been earned, had they not
Yeah.
been, had they not had their mind poisoned.
Well, yeah, it's so bad. I know there were people out there that were convinced, thanks to Reventure Consulting and others
Yeah.
in 2021 and 2022 not to do anything, right?
Yeah. Right.
That's when his doom fear took off and he became a monster channel, right? I think he's got
Yeah, right.
600,000 subs or whatever
Oh,
now.
yeah, he's got more subscribers than we do. It's
To
not fair.
combined,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know, yeah,
So again, he's doing something right. So, hey, if that's how you want to sell your soul, then go nuts.
yeah,
But, there were people that didn't buy in 21 and 22 because of him. Not only have they lost the value, but the real problem there's two problems. One is they also lost out on fixing their shelter costs, right? Rent is up dramatically since then,
right.
right?
Yeah,
Lifetime low interest rates.
just
And
for their own personal residence is what you're talking about
yeah,
there. Yeah.
exactly. And then the last thing is some of these people, and I don't know what the percentage is. Let's call it 20, maybe as high as 40% will
Hmm. Yeah.
never buy because they
Right.
missed 21 and 22.
Right.
They will
And
be
they'll
renters
always feel
forever.
right. And they will become doomers themselves because they missed out. And now they feel so bad. They're jealous of the people who had the confidence to take action, and they just missed out. And so that's like, these are like life-changing decisions. All you have to do really in life is catch one wave. Think of it
Yep.
like a surfer, right? You catch one wave that might be, in one decade, there's going to be a strong wave where there's lots of money to be made. And if they don't catch that wave, they just might be discouraged forever. I mean, literally, people, there could be suicides attributed to these doomers, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It's really a sad
Yeah.
state of affairs, and the algorithms reward them. Human psychology rewards them,
Of course.
because the way we evolved is we evolved to see negativity, because that negativity was threatening to our survival. And then the industrial revolution came along, and we had a world of abundance where the negativity really wasn't such a threat, right? Where it
Yeah.
really wasn't that present like it was throughout history. And so we didn't adjust our minds. Our minds take, thousands of years to evolve to this, right? But
Yeah.
yeah,
Folks,
it's crazy.
yeah, folks, at the end of the day, we've got Jason Hartman in an airport. I want to kind of close with this request for you. If you have followed a doomer and they've been wrong for a year, 2 years, 3 years, somebody
Yeah,
needs to step up and ask them to own that. Why were they wrong?
yeah,
And they'll just
good.
ignore it. You need to fill in their comments and say, why were you wrong? Why were you wrong?
Yeah,
Why were you wrong?
yeah.
There's no ownership
Well,
there.
not just why were you wrong, but why don't you admit it? I mean,
Yeah, why don't you admit it? Yeah,
and go look. I have taken screenshots of their YouTube videos with the titles and the thumbnails and the
sure.
dates on them, and I suggest everybody do that to hold these people accountable. And
Yeah, I've actually
it's
got
just, yes,
I got a whole clip, almost a minute long, of them calling for 20% crashes over the years that never happened. And they won't
unbelievable.
admit it.
Yeah.
They won't admit it.
Yeah.
Well, Jason, you're amazing.
It's a
Thank you for your
clickbait
commitment.
scam.
Yeah.
All
Thank you
right.
for your
Yeah.
commitment. Thank you for being here. Where can they find you?
jasonhartman.com, or my podcast and YouTube channel. It's all there. Just look up my name.
Peace. Thanks, buddy. Take
All
care.
right.
Travel safe.
Thank you.